Shane Samaru sentenced to 13 years for the murder of Feroz Khan. Shane Samaru, also known as Travis Cordis, has been sentenced to 13 years in prison for the fatal assault of Feroz Khan, nicknamed Eggy, which occurred on August 19, 2021. The ruling was delivered by Justice Sandal Kissoon at the Berbice High Court. On the day of the incident, Khan was walking past a grocery store at Bennett Dam, Rossignol, when he was attacked by Samaru. Armed with a piece of wood, Samaru clubbed Khan, causing him to collapse. Subsequently, Samaru used a knife to stab Khan, leading to injuries confirmed by a post-mortem report, which indicated a punctured heart. Following the incident, the Guyana police force issued a wanted bulletin for Samaru on August 23, 2021. After being on the run for several months, he was apprehended in Mibikuri, Black Bush Polder, where law enforcement also arrested his mother for harboring a fugitive. During the trial, defense attorney Kevin Edmondson requested the court to consider Samaru's youth and expressed remorse for Khan's death. "I'm sorry for the people who lost their family. I beg for one more chance to go back on the road," a visibly remorseful Samaru stated. However, Justice Kissoon emphasized the serious nature of the crime, noting the escalating violence often linked to alcohol consumption. He highlighted the devastating impact on Khan's family, particularly on his 3 surviving sons, who must now navigate life without their father. In delivering the sentence, Justice Kissoon also mandated that Samaru participate in anger management sessions and programs aimed at addressing his alcohol-related habits, in an effort to encourage rehabilitation. Ministry of Education investigates serious incident of bullying at Utvlugt Primary School. The Ministry of Education is actively investigating a distressing incident at Utvlugt Primary School, where 6-year-old Dimitri Morrison suffered a severe injury after allegedly being bullied by a classmate. The young boy was left with a deep, bloodied gash on his tongue, requiring 18 stitches. Dimitri's mother, Christina Siraj, expressed her outrage and frustration on social media, sharing graphic photos and videos of her son's injury after the incident on November 14, 2025. She reported that she was called to the school post-incident, only to find her son unattended and bleeding profusely from the mouth. "When we arrived at the school, there was no assistance from the teachers," Siraj stated in her Facebook post. "I took him to the West Demerara Regional Hospital, where he received 18 stitches." She added that as a result of the injury, her son struggles to eat solids and speak clearly. Siraj returned to the school seeking answers but felt that her concerns were not adequately addressed by the head teacher. She has since called upon the Ministry of Education and the President to intervene, pleading for justice for her son. "My son is still a baby, and I'm pleading for justice," she emphasized. In response to the incident, the Ministry of Education, led by Minister Sonia Parag, has reached out to Morrison's family. The ministry had recently launched a new anti-bullying and anti-violence reporting system aimed at providing a safe and confidential platform for students, parents, and teachers to report abuse and harassment. During the launch, Minister Parag highlighted the importance of this new digital platform, which allows for confidential reporting of incidents without fear of retaliation. This goal is to promote accountability, encourage a culture of respect, and strengthen the overall well-being of students, she stated. Addressing the broader issue of bullying in schools, Minister Parag reiterated the government's zero-tolerance approach. She stated that when she assumed the role of education minister, she was met with numerous reports of bullying and vowed to take a strong stance against it. "We must take a zero-tolerance approach to bullying in all its forms," she concluded. The ministry's investigation into the Utvlugt Primary School incident is ongoing, with the aim of determining the circumstances surrounding Dimitri's injury and ensuring appropriate measures are taken to prevent further occurrences. Win Party threatens legal action over delay in electing leader of the opposition. The We Invest in Nationhood, Win Party, the main opposition party in the National Assembly, has sent a pre-action letter to Speaker Manzoor Nadir, demanding a meeting within 14 days to elect a new leader of the opposition, warning that failure to do so will lead to legal action. In the letter, drafted by their attorney, Sayan Durjan, the 16 Win members of parliament asserted that there is no constitutional barrier preventing the speaker from convening a meeting to elect the leader of the opposition, a position recognized under Article 184(1) of the Constitution. Durjan emphasized that the Speaker must take immediate steps to arrange this meeting among non-governmental members of the National Assembly. He cautioned that continued delays could result in proceedings in the High Court. The matter was initially brought to the Speaker's attention during the first sitting of the 13th Parliament on November 3rd, wherein members requested an immediate meeting to elect the opposition leader. However, the Speaker declined to convene the meeting on that day. In a verbal exchange, MP Natasha Singh Lewis was informed that it doesn't have to wait until the next sitting. As of now, no subsequent meeting has occurred. Durjan highlighted that all non-governmental members of Parliament were present at the Arthur Chung Conference Center on November 3rd, capable of holding the meeting right afterward. He noted that MP Singh Lewis later wrote to the Speaker seeking an update, but has received no response. It is inconceivable that the Constitution could ever allow delays regarding your mandatory obligation under Article 184(1), Durjan argued, underscoring the crucial role of the leader of the opposition in the governance process. He urged the Speaker to act swiftly, recognizing the importance of the position and its public functions. Attempts by news source to reach the Speaker for comment were unsuccessful, although Clerk Sherlock Isaac stated he was not aware of the latest correspondence from Wynne. He also mentioned that no date has been set for the National Assembly's next sitting or the meeting to elect the leader of the opposition. Trial continues in case of alleged election manipulation. The trial concerning the March 2020 general and regional elections resumed on Tuesday with further testimony focused on the treatment of former returning officer Claremont Mingo during his arrest and questioning. Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty is overseeing the proceedings at the Georgetown Magistrates' Courts. Testimony continued with Mingo still on the witness list, before shifting to evidence from Lance Corporal Sherwin Benjamin of the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, headquarters. Benjamin testified that he had copied all relevant station diary entries related to Mingo's case. Following this, Assistant Superintendent Komal Pitamber took the stand, detailing an interaction with Mingo on August 25, 2020. He explained that during the afternoon, officials conducted an interview with Mingo, informing him of the reasons for his arrest. Mingo's attorney, Darren Wade, had arrived to visit him, but when Pitamber took Mingo downstairs to meet Wade, the attorney had already left. Wade subsequently returned, allowing Mingo to meet with him. Pitamber noted that a video interview was conducted with Mingo later that evening. During this interview, Mingo was informed of the allegations against him and requested the presence of his attorney, which was documented in the station diary. He emphasized that Mingo was never denied access to legal counsel, nor was he told he would be released if he chose not to participate in the interview. Mingo did not voice any complaints regarding stress or adverse conditions at Sparendam Police Station. During cross-examination, Attorney Nigel Hughes pointed out that approximately 1 hour after Wade arrived at the station, he was allowed to speak to Mingo. The court also heard from head of the Major Crimes Unit, Mitchell Caesar, who testified that he interviewed Mingo around 11 p.m. that night. Caesar asserted that he saw nothing inappropriate about conducting an interview at that hour and did not believe he needed to wait for a suspect to be prepared for questioning. 9 individuals, including former Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield, former Deputy CEO Roxanne Myers, Mingo, and former Government Minister Volda Lawrence, are charged with conspiring to manipulate the Region 4 results in favor of the APNU plus AFC coalition, thus denying victory to the PPP. The trial is scheduled to continue on Wednesday. Update: 2 die in Soesdijk-Linden Highway Sunday night accident. Tragedy struck on the Soesdijk-Linden Highway on Sunday night when 2 individuals lost their lives in a catastrophic crash. According to a statement from the Guyana police force, the accident occurred shortly after 6:30 p.m. near Silver Hill. The victims have been identified as 27-year-old Darren Bob and 30-year-old Wayne Clark. Reports indicate that Bob and Clark were passengers in a motor vehicle being driven by a 28-year-old man. As they traveled south on the roadway, the driver reportedly lost control, veering into the opposite lane and colliding with another vehicle driven by a resident of Mablissa. The force of the collision caused the car carrying Bob and Clark to flip over, ejecting both men onto the highway. Emergency medical services were promptly called to the scene, but unfortunately, both victims were pronounced dead upon arrival. The drivers of both vehicles, along with other occupants, sustained multiple injuries and were transported to nearby hospitals for treatment. The police stated that post-mortem examinations will be conducted on the bodies of Bob and Clark as part of an ongoing investigation into the accident. Authorities are urging drivers to exercise caution and safety measures while navigating the busy highway, highlighting the need for greater vigilance to prevent such tragic incidents in the future. Guyana considers tougher penalties to address reckless driving. The government of Guyana is exploring stricter penalties aimed at curbing reckless driving, as announced by Home Affairs Minister Wanij Walrond. Speaking at a road safety awareness walk on Sunday, Walrond highlighted the ministry's ongoing collaboration with the Guyana Police Force to amend traffic regulations and road laws. New draft amendments have been developed, with the minister indicating a focus on introducing harsher penalties for existing offenses and making it more straightforward to suspend driving licenses. Right now, it's an arduous process to do that, suspend licenses, she remarked, emphasizing the need for more efficient measures. The urgency for these reforms comes amid alarming statistics. As of last week, 110 people have lost their lives on the country's roadways due to accidents, recorded from 99 fatal incidents this year. This figure shows a slight increase compared to 107 deaths from 95 fatal accidents in the same period during 2024. November has been designated as Road Safety Awareness Month, themed Careful Driving Saves Lives. Local authorities are ramping up efforts to educate the public, enhance enforcement measures, and incorporate advanced technology for monitoring and managing road safety effectively. The government's commitment to improving road safety reflects a broader ambition to protect citizens and reduce the rising trend of road-related fatalities. Guyana police report surge in cocaine seizures despite drop in cannabis confiscation. The Guyana Police Force, GPF, has made significant strides in drug enforcement this year, charging 302 individuals and seizing 233 kilograms of cocaine, along with 861 kilograms of cannabis. These figures represent a marked increase in cocaine seizures compared to the previous year, while cannabis confiscation has seen a decline. In the same period last year, the police recorded only 6 kilograms of cocaine and 1,456 kilograms of cannabis seized, highlighting a notable shift in trends. Among those charged, 244 individuals were facing cannabis-related offenses, while 58 were charged with cocaine possession. Crime Chief Wendell Blanham shared these statistics during the launch of the force's Christmas policing plan. He pointed out that the operations also resulted in the eradication of 208 acres of cannabis farms, emphasizing the GPF's ongoing commitment to combat drug trafficking and possession nationwide. Blanham reiterated that Guyana continues to serve as a critical transshipment point for cocaine, which has prompted the police to intensify enforcement efforts at checkpoints and strategic locations across the country. These initiatives aim to enhance public safety and disrupt drug trafficking networks operating within and beyond Guyana's borders. Guyana police seize 100 illegal firearms amid ongoing gun trafficking challenges. The Guyana Police Force, GPF, has successfully removed 100 illegal firearms from the streets in 2025, but investigations have revealed that the nation's gun problem is significantly exacerbated by weapons smuggled from other countries. Crime Chief Wendell Blanham made this announcement during the launch of the GPF's Christmas policing plan, emphasizing the importance of intelligence-led operations aimed at disrupting the supply chains that feed firearms into criminal networks. Among the firearms seized this year are 57 pistols, 12 revolvers, 29 shotguns, 2 rifles. Although Guyana does not manufacture firearms, the recovered weapons exhibit a diverse international footprint. Detailed findings indicate that of the 100 guns seized, their origins include 16 from the United States, 16 from Brazil, 7 from Austria, 7 from Italy, 5 from Venezuela. Additional firearms have been traced back to countries such as Turkey, Belgium, the Czech Republic, and Germany, while 31 firearms are still undergoing verification. Blanham noted that pistols continue to dominate the landscape of illegal firearms, due to their ease of concealment and preference among serious offenders. With weapon origins spanning North America, South America, and Europe, the GPF remains committed to strengthening efforts to intercept these foreign-made guns before they can reach local criminals. The police force's proactive stance aims to enhance the safety and security of communities across Guyana, particularly as the holiday season approaches. Chinese man sentenced and fined for cannabis possession. Quasi Alves, 48, known as Chinese man, from Lot 86, 3rd Street, Better Hope, has been sentenced following a charge of possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking, specifically 63.5 grams of cannabis. Alves appeared before Mr. Clive Nurse at the Sparendam Magistrates Court No. 1, where he pleaded guilty to the charge. In response, he was sentenced to 6 months in prison and ordered to pay a fine of $90,000. This case underscores the ongoing efforts to address drug-related offenses in the region. Taxi driver granted bail for larceny of cattle. Godfrey Liverpool, a 32-year-old taxi driver from Lot 7, North Slip, Sparendam, appeared at the Sparendam Magistrates Court 1 before His Worship Mr. Clive Nurse, facing 2 counts of larceny of cattle. Liverpool pleaded not guilty to the charges and was granted bail set at $250,000 for each count. The offenses were allegedly committed against 63-year-old Sheikh Rahman, a businessman from LBI, on September 1st and September 2nd, 2025, respectively. The case has been adjourned to January 5th, 2026, for further proceedings. Youth charged with larceny granted bail. Delon Isaacs, a 21-year-old porter from Lot 33 North Haslington, East Coast Demerara, appeared at Vigilance Magistrates Court No. 1 before His Worship Mr. Sunil Scare, facing charges of larceny from a dwelling house. Upon the charge being read, Isaacs pleaded guilty. However, the victim, 45-year-old Janelle Williams, chose to offer no evidence against him. As a result, Isaacs was placed on $25,000 bail. The offense occurred on November 10, 2025, at Williams' residence in North Haslington. The case has been adjourned to November 21, 2025, for further proceedings. Barber remanded for inciting terrorism. Albert Ramnauth, a 30-year-old barber from Lot 170, Pomona Housing Scheme, has been remanded to prison after appearing before His Worship Ravindra Mohabir at the Charity Magistrates Court. He faces charges of using a computer system to incite persons to commit a terrorist act. The charge stems from a comment Ramnauth made on Facebook, in which he allegedly wrote, "Bomb the police headquarters next," on November 7, 2025. When the charge was read, he was not required to enter a plea and was subsequently remanded. The case is scheduled for further proceedings on November 27, 2025. Mason fined and placed on community service for narcotics possession. 43-year-old Mason Sherwin Charles, residing at Lot 83 No. 5 Village, West Coast Burbus, faced legal repercussions after being charged with possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking, involving 44.5 grams of cannabis. Charles appeared at the Letham Magistrates Court before His Worship Mr. O. Chandon, where the charge was presented. He pleaded guilty to the offense, leading to a sentence that included a fine of $66,750 GYD. In addition to the financial penalty, Charles has been mandated to complete 6 months of community service. This case underscores the ongoing efforts by local authorities to address narcotics-related offenses in the community. Guyana mourns the passing of Compton Squingy Persaud, beloved mentor in cycling and motorsport. The cycling and motorsport communities in Guyana are in mourning following the passing of Compton Persaud, affectionately known as Squingy, who died recently at the age of 72 after reportedly suffering a heart attack. Persaud was renowned as a selfless mentor, a true advocate for sport, and a man with an exceptional eye for talent. His sudden departure has left a significant void in the nation's cycling tracks and motor racing circuits, where he had devoted decades of unwavering support. Veteran racer Kevin Jeffrey, who knew Persaud for 50 years, expressed profound sorrow over the loss. He was a genuine friend, a trusted soul, and an honest, hard-working, contented person, Jeffrey shared, emphasizing Persaud's unconditional passion for sport. He was not only a supporter of competition but also a guiding force for many athletes, often touring alongside Jeffrey's motor racing and cycling teams during races. Persaud's ability to recognize talent was remarkable, best exemplified in his early guidance of the late Alonzo Greaves, one of the country's most promising cyclists. His influence primarily impacted the grassroots level of sport, where he fostered community and camaraderie. National cyclist Marlon Fishy, Williams reminisced about the regular gatherings at Persaud's shop, humorously dubbed the Parliament. There, riders and local businessmen would gather to discuss everything from cycling strategies to broader societal matters. Despite never holding a formal role with the Cycling Federation, Williams noted that Persaud was always ready to lend a hand, showcasing a practical approach to enhancing the sport, having been a cyclist himself in his earlier years. Outside of his involvement in sports, Persaud was a well-recognized figure in Georgetown, having managed the Bata shoe store in the 1970s until its closure in Guyana. His educational journey took him through St. Ambrose Primary School and Christ Church Secondary School. Social media has been awash with condolences from the cycling fraternity, reflecting on the humble spirit, warmth, and quiet dignity of Persaud, qualities that touched many lives and fostered goodwill throughout the community. APNU calls for action following Auditor General's report highlighting financial irregularities. News source Guyana reports, the A Partnership for National Unity, APNU, has expressed grave concerns regarding the Auditor General's 2024 report, which reveals over $1 billion in financial irregularities and mismanagement within the government. APNU Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahapal addressed the findings from the fiscal year ending December 31, 2024, describing them as indicative of financial recklessness, weak oversight, and persistent breaches of accountability laws across various ministries, departments, and regional administrations. The report indicates that $1.011 billion was overpaid to contractors during 2024. Mahapal explained that the Auditor General evaluated 829 contracts totaling $48.19 billion, uncovering significant cases of mismanagement involving 86 contracts administered by multiple government agencies. Key agencies implicated include the Office of the President, Office of the Prime Minister, and various ministries such as Foreign Affairs, Local Government, and Health. An additional $109.99 million in overpayments was noted across 9 regional Democratic Councils, RDCs. Mahapal cautioned that these findings were based on sample audits, suggesting that the actual extent of financial misconduct could be far greater. The report also highlighted a troubling lack of compliance regarding previous recommendations. Out of 179 recommendations made in the 2023 report, only 48, 27%, were fully implemented, while 96, 54%, were partially implemented, leaving 35, 19%, unaddressed. Mahapal emphasized that the failure to rectify past issues reflects a disregard for accountability and financial discipline within multiple ministries. He called for comprehensive audits and compliance enhancements across state agencies. The APNU parliamentary opposition demands deeper forensic audits in all ministries and regions where overpayments and unaccounted funds have been identified. We urge public disclosure of recovery efforts, including the names of engineers and contractors involved in these overpayments, and independent oversight of ministries with repeated audit violations, he stated. MP Mahapal insisted that the government must not treat the Auditor General's findings as mere bureaucratic concerns, but rather confront the underlying issues of systemic corruption, weak governance, and a lack of accountability. He concluded by emphasizing the need for decisive action and full transparency in addressing these financial irregularities. Jamal Angus sentenced to 22 years for the manslaughter of Vanessa Benjamin. Almost 5 years after the tragic stabbing of 21-year-old Vanessa Benjamin, a mother of 2, Jamal Angus, 29, has been sentenced to 22 years in prison for manslaughter. This ruling was handed down by Justice Sandal Kissoon in the High Court in Burbus following Angus' guilty plea to the lesser charge. Angus was originally charged with murder in connection to the April 16, 2020 incident which took place at Atacha village, where Benjamin was staying with her mother. On the day of the attack, Angus attempted to persuade Benjamin to rekindle their 4-year common-law relationship, but she insisted their relationship was over. In a fit of rage, Angus armed himself with a knife and inflicted 17 stab wounds on Benjamin. Her 56-year-old mother was also injured in the attack but survived. Benjamin was rushed to the Fort Wellington Hospital, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. A post-mortem revealed that the stab wounds had punctured her heart and lungs. Following the attack, Angus attempted to take his own life but survived and was subsequently arrested. He had been remanded in custody since his first appearance at the Fort Wellington Magistrates Court in 2020. During sentencing, Justice Kissoon highlighted several aggravating factors, emphasizing the ongoing crisis of domestic violence in the country. He condemned the extreme and unrestrained violence that characterized the crime, particularly underscoring the deliberate nature of Angus's actions, which included unlawfully entering the home and actively concealing his intentions. The judge noted that reports described Angus as a habitual abuser, a factor that further influenced the severity of the sentence. He also remarked on the lasting trauma inflicted on Benjamin's family, particularly her young children, who are now left without their mother. Justice Kissoon's remarks serve as a reminder of the urgent need to address domestic violence and protect vulnerable individuals in society. Minister Persaud urges improved service delivery at Linden Probation Office. In a decisive early morning meeting on Monday, Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Honorable Dr. Vindhya Persaud, conveyed a strong message to staff at the Linden Probation Office regarding the urgent need for enhanced service delivery across the ministry's offices nationwide. Minister Persaud introduced her planned open days, which will enable citizens to meet with her directly, share their concerns, and discuss their experiences accessing services. She expressed concern over numerous complaints related to treatment, efficiency, and follow-up within the ministry, emphasizing that such issues are unacceptable for an organization dedicated to serving the nation's most vulnerable groups. We hear complaints about the way people are treated, about efficiency, and about the follow-up system, and this should not happen in the Human Services Ministry. While I recognize the challenges you face, we must prioritize the needs of the people, she said. The minister urged staff to uphold professionalism, stressing the importance of leaving personal matters outside the workplace. You cannot bring your bad day to the office or let personal issues affect how you deal with clients. What we do as a ministry is vital, she underscored. Addressing specific issues, including delays in issuing old age pension, public assistance, and permanent disability booklets. Minister Persaud described these delays as unacceptable. She assured attendees of her open day in Linden later that day that their matters would be resolved immediately. Moreover, Minister Persaud emphasized the need for urgent improvements in child protection responses. She highlighted the importance of timely actions and efficient follow-ups to ensure that children are swiftly removed from unsafe environments. Encouraging teamwork, she remarked on the necessity of building a strong collaborative network to tackle critical issues effectively. Quality service cannot depend solely on individual efforts, but requires a collective commitment from everyone, from office staff to frontline workers. As the minister concluded her address, she expressed her desire to see issues resolved and services restored without delay. True progress requires integrated services, teamwork, and full commitment. This work cannot be done halfway, Minister Persaud affirmed.